Copper Sun, Part 10, Chapter 38, The Spanish Soldier. With the wagon, they made remarkable time. What might have taken them 3 or 4 days walking, they covered in one evening, rolling not exactly smoothly over the bumpy, rutted road, but thankfully. Old Brownie seemed to have regained a bit of his youthful energy, neighing and shaking his mane at the start of each evening's travel. Polly chuckled to herself as she remembered a horse her father had once owned. Old Fart, he had called it, because the horse had a terrible problem with flatulence. He eventually sold it to a farmer he didn't like. One fart deserves another, her father had joked, making up funny horse stories, complete with vividly descriptive sound effects, all to amuse Polly. Her mother had frowned with mild disapproval at first, but eventually the three of them ended up laughing uproariously in front of the hearth that whole evening. Those were the times she missed, not the days of hunger or rats or sickness, but the warmth of the fire when her family laughed. "What do you miss most about your mother, Amari?" she asked as they rumbled down the road in the starlight. Amari was silent for a moment. Then she said, "Seemed like no matter what I asked for, she always got the right answer. Sure be nice to talk to her one time." Polly nodded in understanding. "My father wasn't perfect," she admitted, "but my mother truly loved him. She would light up like a lantern when he walked into a room." She paused. At the end, she was in severe pain, but she was so brave, never complaining, only worrying about what would happen to me. Amari pulled the reins so the horse would step around a branch on the road. "I never seen my mama scared, never seen her not know what to do." She breathed deeply of the night air. "Even the night she died, she fight like a lion." "You know, you're brave as well, Amari. Your mother would be proud of you," Polly said honestly. "Your belief in Fort Mose, along with your strength and courage, is what has brought us this far." Amari shook her head. "I be scared all the time," she admitted. "I never be brave as a lion like my mama." Polly looked up at the sparkling night. "I think of my mother at night as we travel," she told Amari. "It helps." Amari glanced at the sky and smiled as if the thought was comforting. "What about my mama?" Titbit asked then. "I want to go back home." Amari and Polly both hugged him. "We gotta find new home," Amari told him. "Your mama wants you to be a big boy. You know she love you, even if she can't be with you." Titbit seemed unconvinced. He put his thumb in his mouth and leaned against Amari. By day, they still hid as best they could, sleeping under the wagon and praying they would not be discovered. There had been no sign of Clay. Polly noticed that Amari seemed to be having trouble sleeping. One afternoon, when Amari woke with a start, covered with sweat, Polly told her quietly, "You must think of your young man as dead, Amari. I'm so sorry." Amari nodded her head in agreement. "Maybe been better if I not seen Besa like that." "Maybe it was a good thing," Polly suggested quietly. "Perhaps it will give you strength to go on." "Make me feel sick inside," Amari told her, "and angry too." Polly traced a pattern with her finger in the dirt. "You know, I never really knew any black people before I came to Mr. Derby's place. I mean, everybody had slaves, of course, but I never actually thought about them, and I certainly never had a black friend before," she admitted. Amari looked away. "Sometime I hate white people," she admitted softly. "I never hate before I be a slave." She stretched her arms. "I never even see white person until they attack my village. It'd be hard to have hate feeling and like feeling at same time." Polly said, "I understand, Amari." Amari looked at Polly and said shyly, "I think now I have friend with pale skin." Polly replied quietly, "For certain you do." Amari looked into Polly's eyes. "If we gets to Fort Mose, you gonna stay?" Polly didn't answer right away. "I don't know. I have not thought about it deeply. I truly have no place else to go." Amari shrugged. "I never go back to my land," she said, her voice plaintive. "But this be land of white people. Maybe you find a place for you." "Maybe," Polly replied thoughtfully. Amari put her head in her hands and rocked. Finally, her voice full of anguish, she revealed her concerns. "Maybe nothing be there, Polly. Maybe it be no good place. Maybe Base are right and we be catched." And maybe he is wrong, and you and Titbit will be forever free, Polly said firmly. You told Fiona that Titbit is yours. He is your child now, Omari. He needs you to be strong. Maybe I not be strong enough to be a mother, Omari said doubtfully. Polly smiled and looked at the sleeping child. You would die for that child. Yes, for sure, Omari admitted. In my village, all women be mothers to all children. Maybe Titbit belonged to both of us, Omari said. Titbit opened his eyes and grinned. Titbit belonged to Titbit, he said cheerfully. Omari's sad mood seemed to lift as she and Polly tickled him. Even when they played and laughed, however, they did it quietly, always watchful of footsteps or danger, always fearful of the return of Clay. The land in southern Georgia lay vastly undeveloped, with fewer and fewer settlements of farmers. Omari did see in the distance, however, occasional garrisons of soldiers the farther south they traveled. Those soldiers make me nervous, Polly whispered to Omari, not wanting Titbit to hear. Soldiers carry guns, Omari said, remembering the man who had attacked her village. That not good. Let's be extra quiet tonight, Polly suggested. The moon hid behind the clouds, and the night shadows played tricks on Omari's imagination. She kept looking behind her. Nevertheless, they drove their little wagon carefully and slowly down the deserted path that night. It seemed to shout their location as it managed to hit every bump and hollow in the road. They traveled for several hours without saying a word when, without a warning, a shadowy body appeared about 10 feet in front of them. Halt! Who goes there? The male voice called out, shakily. Polly thought immediately of Clay. Perhaps he had found them once more. Omari clutched Titbit to her, and Polly grasped her arm. She was not sure if the man had seen them. To get so close and then be captured? The voice spoke again. Polly, halt! Stop. Potty. The footsteps moved unsteadily. If you mean me no harm, or if you be un phantasma, a ghost, go away. Whoever had been speaking fell silent. What should we do? Whispered Polly. Run, Omari whispered back. Leave the wagon. The two girls climbed down to the road, motioning to Titbit to jump. But Titbit, instead of silently slipping from the wagon, shouted, Who be that, Omari? The shadowy voice on the road roared. Titbit screamed. Polly's heart sank. She knew they were captured. But the person on the road didn't grab either of the girls. He reached out and snatched Titbit from Omari. Titbit protested loudly and wriggled to get free. Then the voice yelped in pain, and suddenly Titbit was back on the ground. Omari grabbed him back close to her. He bit me, a man's voice whined. Polly relaxed a bit. It wasn't Clay's voice, and when she thought about it, not even a threatening voice. Polly headed toward the man, then stopped. Hush Puppy barked hysterically. The silence of the night completely destroyed. They all stood there on the road like actors in a play, each waiting for the other's next move. Polly spoke first. Are you drunk? She asked, trying to understand the man's unusual behavior. No estoy borracho. I am not drunk, the man responded. I never partake of strong spirits, but it might help, however, in this insect-infested country, he belched. What I am is afraid of things in the night, wolves and bears and such. And children? Polly asked. Why not? It is dark and you surprise me. He is a soldier, Omari said, her voice low. Now, that is a fact, the man replied in agreement as he stumbled on the road. Soy un cabo en el ejército del rey. I am a corporal in the army of His Majesty King Philip V. Of course, I have never met the king, but who am I to question kings and generals? He burped again. Greetings to you from mi país de España, my beloved home country of Spain. You are Spanish? Polly asked suspiciously. She wished she could speak the language. And most proud of it, my dear, and missing my home mightily, he sighed. I am Domingo Salvador, just another lonely soldier from Madrid. So, why you grabbed the child? Omari asked him angrily. The night frightens me. He could have been a bear. Tuve miedo. I was afraid, the soldier admitted, seeming to cower from Omari's words. I not no bear, Titbit stated, sounding mildly insulted. Then he giggled. What are you children doing out here, Amelia, in the middle of the night? the soldier asked. Polly replied with another question. Where are the rest of the soldiers in your company, and why are you out here alone at night? They are asleep, but we patrol the area for English troops and runaways. Me, I would rather be home with my Maria. We had just married when I was called to this service. He swatted at his arm. All I have for company are los mosquitos y las memorias. He belched once more. What do you do with runaways? Polly asked carefully. The soldier looked at Polly with bleary eyes. Officially, runaways do not exist until they leave the colonies, but once they cross El Rio del Santa Maria, the St. Mary's River, we help them to St. Augustine. King Philip does not believe in slavery of any kind, he told them proudly. Which way to this river? Omari asked warily. Just 2 days' journey down this road, the soldier replied. Why do you ask? You be fugitivos? Runaways? Of course not, Polly said. Maybe you are intoxicated after all. I am returning to my home from a visit to my grandmother's house. The young soldier replied, I am sorry to have frightened you. Go back to your company, Corporal Salvador, Polly told him, and I will not tell my father that I saw you on the road. Oh, gracias. Thank you, senorita, the soldier replied as he smoothed out his uniform. On the morrow, I will believe you were all in mi sueño, my dream. He then looked at Polly seriously. Be very careful, senorita. The soldiers of the English are cruel and dangerous. The river you need to cross is not far. Thank you, sir, Polly said, realizing he was not as simple as he looked. The Spanish soldier looked at the 3 children and smiled. The place you seek, my children, is called Gracia Real de Santo Teresa de Mos. The English call it Fort Mose. It is 2 miles north of St. Augustine. Sounding suspicious, Amari spoke up. What you know about that place? Corporal Salvador sat down in the middle of the road. It is muy pequeño, very small. Only about 100 people live there, just a few families. But they own the land they work on, and ellos son libres, they are free, to do as they please, he added quietly. And what are the people there like? Polly asked. Mostly free slaves, some white folk, mostly Spaniards, Españoles, lots of Indians from different tribes, Greek, Seminole, Cherokee, all living together. There is nothing like it in todo el mundo, in all the world. White soldiers in charge? Amari asked. The Spanish soldier laughed. Actually, no. El Capitan of the fort is Francisco Menendez, a black man. He was once un esclavo, a slave. Amari looked impressed. Of course, I know you are not interested in this place and simply returning home to your father, the soldier continued, but if you should ever be in that location, you will find churches, Catholic of course, shops, gardens, and simple homes, lots of niños, children as well. He looked at Titbit, who scooted behind Amari. You are right, sir. You are right, sir, Polly said, continuing a pretense that none of them knew what they were actually discussing. My father must be worried by now. I must be on my way. Corporal Salvador saluted the small group of travelers and told them gently, Buena suerte, good luck, my children. Vaya con Dios, may you go with God. With that, he disappeared back off the road and in the direction of his camp. It be real, Amari said with excitement in her voice. We must hurry. No streets of gold, however, Polly warned. Not that I believe Cato, anyway. Streets are free, Amari whispered. Much more better. She was grinning.